Next on Worcester News tonight, Governor Charlie Baker signing a bill into law changing the workplace for years to come. Plus, a local man learns how to walk again after battling diabetes. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Lemon. First at 6, we are watching the radar and potential for thunderstorms. Let's get straight over to meteorologist Tim Kelly for the forecast.
Yeah, it's going to be a transition out of one of the wettest days we've had in weeks, if not months. I think we have to go back to April. For a low pressure system going across New England this time of year, very impressive. It was a warm front with the initial rain. Now it's a trough with these evening thunderstorms just about done with us. Kind of frightening with all the lightning going on in spots. And then the moon comes through the clouds. We missed the full moon last night. It's just past full moon tonight, and it will be just setting as the sun comes up tomorrow morning. This is our Friday map. High pressure is going to come in, so tomorrow there's still a shower or a thunderstorm parts of New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine. Somewhat less humid air is trying to come in, so it's still very sticky outside, and warm weather will turn into hot weather. If not tomorrow with the 90 degrees, then 90 is going to come in on Saturday. It is a little bit less humid tomorrow night, more comfortable for sleeping as far as humidity goes, and you have these clusters of thunderstorms in the middle of the nation producing a lot of wild weather, so it's always worse somewhere else. I'll talk about the somewhere else and our temperature pushing 100 on the weekend forecast in a full 10-day in a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Tim. In an effort to keep a series of ballot questions off the November ballot, Governor Charlie Baker signs the so-called Grand Bargain Bill Thursday. It increases minimum wage and adds in required paid leave. For many in Worcester, it's something they've been working on for years. Our Roslyn Flaherty joins us now with the details. Roslyn?
Olivia, those that have been fighting for this are calling it a victory, saying it will change workers' lives across the state. Martha Acefa says she's ecstatic after Governor Charlie Baker signs a bill increasing the state's minimum wage and requiring paid leave for workers.
This is a really incredible victory.
It's going to give about 1 million workers an increase.
The so-called Grand Bargain Bill allows up to 12 weeks of paid family leave for all workers. It gradually increases the minimum wage from $11 to $15 an hour by 2023 and requires the state to hold a sales tax holiday every summer.
We really want to equip people with the access and opportunity to make a good life for themselves.
Acefa and other advocates in Worcester collected signatures and spent countless hours trying to make it a reality.
We really got our community organized, and we put in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours to make sure that the State House knew what workers in their community wanted.
All workers in Massachusetts know if you're working 40 hours a week, you should be able to make a living wage.
City Councilor Christian King was one of the councilors backing up the legislation. He says the law will impact 40% of workers in Worcester.
It's going to help drive our economic development. You know, you see downtown a lot of things going on. We want to make sure everyone has a seat at the table.
Now, time and a half pay on Sundays and holidays will also be phased out over the next 5 years, but Acefa says they will continue to fight to bring it back. Roslyn Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
A finalized version of the red flag bill could also hit the governor's desk by the end of the week. The legislation would establish a way for family, friends, or law enforcement to ask the courts to suspend someone's gun license if they are deemed to be a risk. A compromise bill was filed last night, and the House plans to vote today, and the Senate could follow. Though no state legislation has passed, Grafton is the latest town to jump on the plastic bag ban. As our Chandler Walsh explains, starting Sunday, businesses meeting certain requirements will be required to provide paper or reusable bags to customers.
The town of Grafton is using its last batch of plastic bags. A ban on them begins in just a few days.
We're trying to lead by example. We're trying to show that we are fully on board with trying to help with the environment and any baby steps that the town can make.
Businesses with more than 3,000 square feet or more than one location in town will need to provide paper or reusable bags. They'll be prohibited from offering single-use plastic ones. Grafton Selectman Sargon Hanna says the town has been working closely with businesses.
Maybe about 6 or 7 businesses in total, CVS, Stop and Shop, and they're already making all the proper changes.
Grafton is joining other Central Mass communities like Shrewsbury, Sturbridge, Westboro, and Worcester. They hope to pave the way for more. In Shrewsbury, the ban has been in effect for almost a year. Some shoppers there don't mind.
It didn't bother me at all. And I do get plastic bags at other stores, but I don't mind getting paper here.
As long as the paper bags are sturdy, we're good with it.
The Grafton ban came about through a petition of concerned citizens. The group recently created 1,500 reusable bags to help with the transition.
Give them to any people, and they complain that it's expensive or, inconvenient. Here's a free bag. Say no to plastic.
The ban goes into effect July 1st. Hannah expects the change will be seamless and says even some of Grafton's smaller businesses the ban doesn't apply to will go along with it. Olivia?
All right, Chandler, thank you for that. A Worcester police officer is forced to draw his service weapon on a 16-year-old girl during a large fight on Pleasant Street. A nearby business shared video of this fight Tuesday evening. Police say the 16-year-old showed a knife and two women armed themselves with brake rotors. The incident involved an estimated 50 people, while as many as 50 others watched. One man who witnessed the whole thing says people were screaming and yelling as everything was happening.
Looking at going, this is crazy. It's the excitement on Pleasant Street again. So, it's just really nuts out here sometimes, but it's better than it used to be years ago. So I got to admit, the police do their job very well. They showed up to make sure that it wasn't going to escalate any more than it did. So I give them credit, definitely.
And 5 people, including the 16-year-old girl, were arrested. They are all facing charges, including assault with a dangerous weapon and assault and battery on a police officer. A Central Massachusetts medical marijuana dispensary could become the state's first recreational shop. The Cannabis Control Commission plans to meet on Monday. On the agenda is the item calling for regulators to vote on issuing a retail license to Cultivate Holdings in Leicester. Cultivate has been operating a medical marijuana dispensary in the town since late 2017. The agenda also calls for the commission to consider product manufacturing and transportation licenses for Sierra Naturals of Milford. Sierra became the first company licensed by the CCC 2 weeks ago. Originally scheduled to open earlier this year, a downtown beer garden is expected to open in October. The site of the former Paris Cinema is under construction. According to the Telegram, the Brew Beer Garden will have a 3-season open-air patio area going back about 75 feet from the sidewalk and a 4-season indoor pavilion structure built behind it. The walk-up interior bar has been completed, but will not be open until the pavilion is done. After a year and a half of learning to do something he knew how to do his whole life, a Worcester man was able to walk into his own home in January. Even though he only speaks Albanian, a team at Holy Trinity Nursing and Rehab Center were able to get him on his feet again. Our Brittany Schaefer joins us now with this story. Brittany?
Olivia, the 72-year-old man lost both of his legs due to complications from diabetes. He says learning to walk again wasn't easy. It was this moment which made a tough year-long journey all worth it.
He take many hours and many time with the rehab girls and help him so much.
Najazi lost both of his legs due to complications of diabetes, and at 72 years old, his goal was to learn to walk again.
Initially, the trauma of the leg loss is a big deal. So you're dealing with the emotional aspect as well as the physical. We have what we call phantom pain. So you still feel like your legs are there. We're dealing with balance issues, things that we take for granted.
Najazi spent countless hours with a team of physical and occupational therapists at Holy Trinity Nursing and Rehabilitation Center. Ajita Pawar says his journey wasn't an easy one.
He was status post-dialysis. I'm weak. I can't do it. It's hurting. But once he started to get more confidence in himself, started to stand up and walk and see for himself, as things just changed around. And then he couldn't have enough of it. He started coming more and more. I want to do it now. Do you have time now?
Powers says the Worcester man first started with parallel bars, then a walker and crutches. She says his motivation is inspirational.
When we walked him in the hallway, all the patients stood and cheered for him in the hallway.
See somebody work so hard and have his work pay off and to accomplish his goals.
Najazi says he can now live at home again, but comes back to Holy Trinity often to thank everyone.
Definitely. Thank you.
Najazi is currently waiting for a better fitting pair of prosthetic legs and says he can't wait to get back on his feet. Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.